Hello everyone and welcome back to a new video. Today we were discussing the 2024 election and specifically the massive changes that have happened over the past couple of days. So yeah, let's just get into it. So currently the 2024 election, it's been changing a lot recently. I mean, the Kamala honeymoon has effectively ended. The DNC is happening. They're just kind of giving up on being moderate at this rate. They don't really care about putting on a fake moderate image anymore. They're just going full on radical. Trump is still maintaining his relatively decent ground and is actually making pretty good gains in the aggregate, and he's actually going out there and finally finding his footing and finding an effective way to attack Kamala and tout his own record after Joe Biden got replaced. So he's doing that. And specifically, a massive change that has happened recently that is a pretty big tell for the election is actually the change in the betting market. And polling market specifically is the best source for where the betting market goes with the election. And currently, right now, Trump has made massive gains in the betting market. He went from around 47% to 52% in a couple of days. And Kamala, she used to be up by quite a bit, and it's completely changed. She was up about 5%. Now Trump is up around, 6%? And he's only gaining Georgia, Nevada, North Carolina. He's effectively locking them down. Nevada is still kind of in the toss-up category, but Trump is making pretty good gains there. Georgia, Kamala's effectively abandoning that. North Carolina, also kind of just abandoning that. She's really only doing good in Michigan and kind of in Wisconsin, but I don't really buy the fact that Wisconsin, with its trends and its demographics, is going to be more liberal than a more diverse state like Arizona or Georgia. Kind of not really accurate, but we'll just go with it. So, with the betting market and the electoral college map, if this was the actual map, Trump would win because even if the two toss up states, Trump is actually still winning. He's still winning there. He still has a pretty good lead in Arizona, and it's bordering on being placed in the lean category. In Pennsylvania, he also has a pretty good shot at winning that state and is currently up in the betting market by a pretty decent amount. So, really, you have to ask yourself, is Kamala actually going to get a bump out of the DNC? Because it kind of seems like she's getting a slump. She's not getting any sort of honeymoon period because she's already had it. She had it way too early. So now the DNC, I mean, it's not exactly enthusiasm around it. Definitely not as many people showing up there. It's practically empty over there. But she's not gaining any momentum out of the DNC because all her fake momentum has dried up. And what do we have to go off of now? Price control? Her bringing up radicals of the Democrats and just bringing them up to spout out how great she is? That isn't exactly going to win you a ton of voters. And especially now, we're getting news that RFK is going to drop out of the race and actually endorse Donald Trump. That's also going to give him a boost. And really, RFK is only detrimental to Donald Trump when there's a ton of voters that aren't enthused with the Democrats. And Kamala Harris doesn't really have that right now. She kind of coalesced the radicals around her base, so not exactly going to flip to RFK. And moderate voters, if RFK endorses Donald Trump and RFK accepts a potential for a position in the administration, that's going to sway a lot of these more moderate voters that support RFK because they kind of are leaning on which candidate to choose. They were originally going to pick Joe Biden, kind of leaning towards Donald Trump, but they just pick RFK. A lot of these more moderate Republicans and moderate Democrats, if Trump gets the endorsement, it only helps him. There's no serious scenario where the RFK endorsement hurts him. If this was like Jeb Bush or George Bush, yeah, I could see that hurting him, but it's a relatively well liked politician. Not exactly a lot of scandals and definitely not a lot of baggage that would be cast onto Trump if he got endorsed by him. Generally, a pretty likable guy, even if there is some weird things around him. And I kind of disagree on quite a bit of what he proposes, but even then, you got to take all the votes that you can get. And RFK endorsing Trump, that would only boost him. And it would likely put on the poly market map, it would likely put Wisconsin and Michigan back in the toss up category with a slight Trump lean. Probably bring Virginia closer to the toss up category, maybe put it as a lean state. Minnesota, probably a lean state too. And we would be right back to post debate Biden. And if we go back to post debate Biden for Kamala Harris, that's not good, especially since the debate hasn't even happened yet. Imagine if she's doing this bad and she is potentially going to do even worse in the aggregate after RFK endorses Trump and after his relatively impressive bounce back after Kamala being pushed massively up. If that is the starting point for when the debate arrives, imagine after the debate, because Kamala is not a good debater. I'd be willing to bet all of my money that Kamala is going to lose the first debate. She's going to lose any debate with Donald Trump. She cannot debate. She has literally nothing to run on. She has nothing to talk about. She is not charismatic. She has literally nothing when it comes to debating. Trump would absolutely sweep her, even better than Joe Biden, because at least Joe Biden, he proves that he can actually debate properly. I mean, he took down Paul Ryan pretty effectively, and he was relatively good at debating there. Not now, but he still has some debate talent. Kamala has absolutely nothing. She literally has absolutely no skill outside of sleeping with the right people to get power. And Trump, he's been campaigning ferociously. And Kamala, she's stuck in Chicago, not campaigning at all, and really just sitting in the glamour event that is the DNC, talking about how great she is. Well, that doesn't get you votes, and Trump is actually campaigning in where it matters, which are the swing states. He's currently in Michigan right now, and he's probably going to go all around the swing states. He's probably going to go to Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and North Carolina, help out his Republicans there, and maybe campaign in Virginia or Minnesota. Because really, all Trump needs to do is secure the toss up states and maybe be a little bit competitive in Virginia, Minnesota, New Hampshire, Maine, those kinds of states. Because Kamala Harris, she has a much harder map to win, especially since she completely passed by Josh Shapiro because he was Jewish and is likely going to have a massive drop off in the Jewish vote. Trump might actually win the Jewish vote given the way things are going and how radically anti Semitic the Democrats have become over the past year. But the problem with that is if you're going to lose the Jewish vote by that much, a lot of Jewish voters in a state like New York, New Jersey, especially Pennsylvania, you don't want to lose their vote because if you do, you are effectively handing Trump the presidency because all he needs is Georgia and Pennsylvania. He doesn't need any other state. He literally just needs Georgia and Pennsylvania in his 2020 states, and he's good. He's already looking like he's going to win Georgia. All he needs is Pennsylvania and to radically campaign there, which he has, and he has the election. He doesn't need Nevada. He doesn't need Arizona. He doesn't need Wisconsin or Michigan. Those are just bonuses. Nevada, it's looking pretty secure for Trump. He just needs to campaign there a little bit more. Arizona, also looking a lot more Republican than previous predictions predicted. And Georgia, also looking pretty secure for Republicans. If all else fails, Trump is still probably going to maintain Georgia. He could lose every other swing state, probably still going to win Georgia. I mean, it's kind of in the North Carolina category at this rate where Trump, he's pretty much guaranteed to win it. It's still going to be a tough fight, but you definitely have a lot better chance. And Kamala just does not have the chops to maintain Georgia in the Democrat column. Joe Biden already won it by a couple thousand votes, and that was in a relatively blue wave year. Not this time. It's a much more competitive election, and Trump, he's currently up and likely is probably going to maintain that lead because Kamala just does not have anything to offer outside of more gaffes and more bad policy proposals. It's going to get even worse for Kamala, and all she can do right now is talk about how great she is at the DNC, surrounded by like minded people, while Trump is actually campaigning and actually winning over voters and is likely to win a bunch of independents with the RFK endorsement. Kamala, she still has the third party candidates, which are going to be a pain in her ass because you got Jill Stein, you got Colonel West. The thing about the 2024 election, people forget about this a lot. Every single third party candidate is left wing. Even the libertarians, they do not put up a former Republican. They have not put up even someone who would be considered a moderate Democrat. No, you got like a full scale liberal. He's not libertarian at all. He's effectively a Democrat, just under a different name. Colonel West, again, massive Democrat. Jill Stein, Green Party, which is pretty much just the Democrat Party, but more leaning towards Bernie Sanders and all that, which Kamala Harris is also kind of that. So, kind of competing with a similar candidate, but Jill Stein definitely has a lot more name recognition than even Kamala Harris. So, she's got to deal with the third party candidates. The fact that Trump is up and is continuing to gain in the polls and in the polling aggregate. And also, you're stuck in the DNC. You got to stay there for a couple of days, and that is going to put you behind. And your honeymoon period is also ending, so what are you going to do now? What do you have to offer the American people? Because you are the vice president, you are the incumbent, so you have to bear all of the responsibility of Joe Biden's bad decisions, and that is ultimately going to tank you because you have no effective response to it because you signed off on it and are actively bragging about it. So, what do you think? Is Kamala actually screwed? Is Trump actually gaining massively and is experiencing a new surge? Leave in the comments below. Like and subscribe as you always do. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.